For over 3 decades, the family landscape has really shifted. Divorce, single parenthood, remarriages, blended families. Parents and children are finding themselves in situations that nobody prepared them for. That's the conversation we'll be having later in the bulletin on our segment, Say What? But right now, let's focus on the stories that are making headlines on our bulletin. I'm Wakio Mzenge. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine Similoi. TV47 Prime starts now. Kenya is strengthening its Ebola preparedness measures, with the Ministry of Health emphasizing the urgent need for fully operational quarantine centers to contain any potential cases before they spread. As Elizabeth Atieno reports, screening has been intensified at the Malaba and Busia border points.
At the Malaba border, those crossing are being required to have their temperatures checked and to wash their hands as part of efforts to prevent the spread of Ebola from neighboring Uganda, which has so far reported 19 cases.
Ukitoka huko unanawa, unapimwa, alafu unaambiwa uende. Ukipata kama iko, wanakuambia simama kwanza kidogo. Lakini kwa sasa huko upande wa Busia Ebola bado hatujasikia pahali imetokea.
Biashara tunafanya, lakini wakaso wao wenye wanakuja, sisi pia tunawasimamia mbali, kwa sababu sisi wengine tayuna tu sanitizer, lakini hula akikuja usishike yeye, unapatia ishe na nataka, ya naenda.
I was going to Kenya to buy some luggages, but they're saying that there is Ebola.
Health officials have intensified screening of travelers and truck drivers crossing the border, with approximately 300 trucks passing through the crossing daily.
We have about 1,500 to 2,000 travelers that pass through here on a daily basis.
As part of the preparedness measures, border health teams have been equipped with thermal guns, gloves, hand sanitizers, hand washing stations, disinfectants, dust bins and cleaning chemicals to support infection prevention and control efforts.
If we had 47 quarantine centers in this country, I would be sleeping easy. But right now I'm still restless because we need those quarantine centers at whatever cost.
Kenya has so far investigated 59 suspected Ebola cases, all of which have tested negative, providing reassurance that the country remains free of the disease despite the heightened regional risk.
As you can see, the cases are increasing, albeit they are negative, but by the virtue that we are suspecting, it's case enough to pin and say that we are at high risk.
Elsewhere, the county government of Kakamega and the Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union have launched an urgent strategic partnership to scale up Ebola preparedness protocols across the region. Kakamega has instituted 2 quarantine centers.
And we are not saying only one in Laikipia. We need to have quarantine centers all over this country, because this country, we cannot afford to expose the Kenyans to Ebola.
Yes. Let's not play politics that we are making a quarantine for only Americans. No. The president has said clearly, anybody in Kenya will use that quarantine. Yeah.
The neighboring county of Bungoma has designated 3 health facilities as Ebola isolation and quarantine centers as part of heightened preparedness measures aimed at preventing a possible outbreak, especially at a time when the Democratic Republic of Congo has reported 71 new Ebola cases within 24 hours, bringing the total number of cases to 452 and 82 deaths since 15th May 2026. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
And differences have emerged between bereaved families and authorities over the proposed burial arrangements for victims of the Utumishi Girls High School fire tragedy. As Willis Dennis Njiru reports, identification of the 16 students who died in the fire has now been finalized following the completion of DNA matching.
Parents of the 16 students who died in the Utumishi Girls Academy fire are demanding the immediate release of their children's bodies after the completion of DNA identification and matching by government agencies.
Unfortunately, tumekasirika sana sisi kama familia sababu kama DNA zishafanyika zote, postmortem zishaisha, washajua kiini chenye kiliua watoto na vitu zingine, tunapaswa kupewa miili za watoto wetu ndio tuende tukazike, ndio pia tuweze kupata ile tupate kukaa na ile tumetulia sisi kama wazazi. Tushapoteza watoto wetu, tushakubali.
I consider requests as not a priority to us. They should give us the bodies.
The families have opposed a proposal by authorities to hold a requiem mass at Gilgil Stadium next Wednesday ahead of a collective burial, arguing that they should be allowed to make their own burial arrangements.
The only thing that makes sense to us is that we take the bodies of our family members or our children and complete the process so that we can come to a closure of this matter.
Na walikuwa wamependekeza iweze kurutishwa mpaka tarehe 10 next week Wednesday. Lakini hiyo tarehe 10 hatukuwa tumewafikiana na kamati wote kuhusiana na hiyo tarehe.
The dispute emerged after the parents gathered at the Naivasha funeral home to privately confirm the identities of their loved ones following the conclusion of the DNA matching process.
The dates that they have given are too far away. The parents are so much grieving, and they're asking the government to kindly support them to put to rest this matter as quick as possible.
There were those bodies which were extremely burnt and charred. We were also able to generate DNA from them, and we have effectively been able to match the remains with the biological relatives.
Meanwhile, the body of Zuhura Rama has been released and transported to Kwale County for burial, making her the first victim to be laid to rest.
Tumemtoa yule msichana mmoja ambao kwamba alikuwa katika imani ya kidini ya Kiislamu, ndio anaelekea, lakini kwa naomba serikali kupitia wakubwa wa serikali, sisi Waislamu katika mila yetu huwa tunazika kiharaka.
Some parents have also raised concern of what they described as inadequate government support during the mourning period. Nakuru County has since waived mortuary fees as families await the release of the remaining bodies.
Kwa kuondolea familia uchungu mingi, ameweza kuwaive all the mortuary bills na postmortem fee. Kwa hivyo familia zote hakuna kitu wamelipa, na Nakuru County imesimamia bili zote na kuwezesha pia familia kupata burial permit without any delay.
For TV47, I'm Willie Dennis Njero.
Thank you, Willis Dennis Njiru, for that report. With the country facing a severe wave of student unrest and school fires, political and religious leaders are calling on the government to acknowledge what they describe as a growing crisis in Kenya's education sector and to take urgent steps to restore stability in learning institutions. Chichi Josephine reports.
At the time when Kenya is grappling with a wave of student unrest, school fires and safety concerns that have disrupted learning in several institutions, political and religious leaders are calling on the government to take urgent action to address the challenge.
I would like to step out of the political thing and speak as a responsible parent and a responsible citizen and ask our president, the minister and the people in the education sector. It's abundantly clear that you have a problem and you have a crisis. And there is no reason why to be arrogant and refuse to accept what everyone can see. Muko na shida. And the sector has been very badly mismanaged.
Political leaders led by Jubilee Party Deputy Leader Fred Matiang'i have urged the government to acknowledge what they describe as a growing crisis in Kenya's education sector, citing the rising number of student unrest cases and school fires across the country.
So I hope our president will see it as a genuine and sincere need for us to have an all-parties conversation on the education sector in the country. Because it's a crisis and it is going to blow up sooner than we think.
The church is committed in terms of ensuring that our families remain the fabric of the society. We have one program to do with family care, And in this program, we have parenting, and where we help the parents of the day basically to become better mothers.
Speaking during a church service at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Meru, Matiang'i said the closure of several schools following arson incidents and unrest should serve as a wake-up call to authorities. He noted that the opposition is ready to work with the government to address the challenges facing the education sector.
There are some solutions that I think, instead of looking like we are criticizing the government all the time, there are some solutions that are within reach. I would advise, this is unsolicited, I don't have to advise the president, but if I was there myself, I would appoint a PS in charge of transition and the new curriculum.
However, Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok, speaking at a Pioneer School in Murang'a County, assured parents that their children are safe, despite recent incidents of arson reported in some secondary schools across the country.
It's not easy. We must learn.
He reiterated the government's commitment in ensuring the safety and security of learners in all learning institutions.
There has been a spate of unrest in our schools, created largely by indiscipline. And I want to say, as government, we are doing everything possible to contain the situation. And I was already aware, we have directed a national audit for the next 10 days of all our boarding schools to ensure that they meet the safety standards. In addition to that, we have deployed 1,000 quality assurance officers around our schools to support in containing these unrests in our schools.
In the fullness of time, all will be well.
Chichi, Josephine, TV47.
Still, on matters education, the Ministry of Education has moved to allay fears over student safety, insisting there will be no early mid-term break, despite recent fire incidents reported in a few secondary schools. Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok says learning is continuing normally in 99% of schools across the country, adding that there is no need to alter the academic calendar. At the same time, Bitok has directed all schools to register under the Kenya Education Management Information System, KEMIS, warning that non-compliant institutions will not receive government funding.
Be disciplined and do the right thing.
You are all aware that for the last 2-3 weeks, there has been a spate of unrest in our schools, created largely by indiscipline. And I want to say, as government, we are doing everything possible to contain the situation. And as I was already aware, we have directed a national audit for the next 10 days of all our boarding schools to ensure that they meet the safety standards. In addition to that, we have deployed 1,000 quality assurance officers around our schools to support in containing these unrests in our schools. In addition to that, we are telling the parents and the teachers they need to strengthen guidance and counseling. They need to strengthen the student leadership structures so that they have a conversation with students. Instead of forcing the students to do things, they can engage them.
Away from education, we go to a very devastating story in Thika, where a family dispute there has ended in tragedy after a man allegedly poured acid on his estranged wife and their 2 sons in an attack that claimed all 4 lives. The incident occurred in Kiganjo Estate on Friday night and has left residents in shock. Samira Mohammed has more details on that story.
What began as a domestic disagreement ended in a devastating loss for an entire family in Thika's Kiganjo Estate.
Ni ukweli jamaa walikuwa wamechomeka, kuchomeka kabisa, sababu jamaa hata ungemjua, alikuwa anakaa makaa. So jamaa tukampata already ameaga, ako hapo lakini hajaondolewa. Na bibi tukapata na yeye alikuwa amechomeka sana, ndio wanamtransfer kwa sababu hakukuwa na ICU.
According to family members, the couple had been living separately for several months following a long-standing domestic dispute.
Walikuwa wamekosana na bibi yake na wakaachana. Walikuwa wameachana for 2 months. But jamaa akapigia bibi yake simu akamwambia juu nitachelewa ukuje unipikie watoto. So bibi alikuja kupikia watoto kama venye waliongea juu watoto alikuwa ameenda akawaacha na bwanake. Na venye alikuja kupikia watoto ndio bwana aliingia. Sasa tuliambiwa aliingia tina petrol akamwagilia bibi na watoto na yeye pia, na gasi ilikuwa inawaka, wakalipuka.
Ningesema we can co-parent as parents. Mahali mtakosana, you can always fall out of love. Venye mulipendana, Mungu aliwakutanisha pamoja. Mkiachana pia mwachane tu na hiyo upendo and do co-parenting. Hakuna haja ya kuuana.
Neighbors say they were alerted by screams coming from the house and quickly contacted police before rushing the victims to Thika Level 5 hospital while unconscious.
Pata kama mama amelazwa, mtoto amelazwa, wakiwa wamechomeka. By the time nilikaa nikaona na yeye bwana ametolewa kwa nyumba akiwa amebebwa na shuka, akiwa pia yeye amechomeka sana. Ni jambo la huzuni sana.
Police say Martin Kamau allegedly attacked his estranged wife Phyllis Wamboi and their 2 sons by pouring acid on them during a confrontation at their home on Friday night.
Alikuwa amepanga kutekeleza huo uhalifu na acid ambayo alimwagia bibi yake, na in the process ya hiyo commotion watoto walirudi kutoka shopping, wakakuja wakagonga mlango, wakafungurua na baba yao, na wakaingia huko wakamwagiwa acid.
The deaths have sparked renewed concerns over rising cases of domestic violence and family-related conflicts, even as authorities say investigations into the circumstances surrounding the incidents are ongoing. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Meanwhile, a major humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Tana River County after devastating floods hit Tarasa and Tana Delta sub-counties, leaving thousands of families displaced. The Kenya Red Cross has so far provided 2,722 households with emergency relief items and hygiene support, including the construction of 71 latrines. However, affected families fear that shortages of clean water and disrupted healthcare services could lead to outbreaks of waterborne diseases. Stanley Nyaringita has the latest on that story.
More than 3,127 families in Tarasa and Tana Delta Sub-County and Tana River County have been left homeless after floods submerged villages across the region.
Hii sio ziwa. Hii ni maji ambayo kwamba imeweza kuathiri hii jamii ambayo kwamba zinaishi katika hii sehemu.
Health facilities have also been affected, raising fears among displaced families of a possible outbreak of waterborne diseases in overcrowded IDP camps. The displaced residents say conditions in the camps are worsening due to contaminated water and lack of sanitation.
Hakuna kisima, hakuna choo. Watu iko na shida.
Unaweza ukalala ndani ya nyumba ukajisikia uko sawa, lakini ikiwa tumboni hamna kitu, usingizi pia huwezi pata.
Response teams from the Kenya Red Cross Society say they have reached 2,722 households with emergency relief items and hygiene support, including the construction of 71 latrines. However, they note that several affected areas remain inaccessible.
The Kenya Red Cross, together with the Ministry of Health, we continue to do medical outreaches, which are being done both in the IDP camps and the neighboring villages that are hosting the IDPs.
The floods have also disrupted learning in several schools, including Odhole Primary School, where access to classrooms has been cut off, leaving pupils relying on canoes for transport.
Dau nayo ni moja. Ikiwa wewe asubuhi mnatoka hapa, ukipata dau kuvuka ni muda, unachukua muda.
Kwa hivyo hata watoto wetu wale ambao wanastahili kuwa hapa shuleni ambao ni karibu 700 wengi hawaji. Tuko tuna chini ya watoto 300.
Data from the Kenya Red Cross Society shows that the March to May rains have affected 85,993 households across 41 counties, displacing 18,587 people. The situation remains severe in Tana River County, where most residents depend on farming, fishing and livestock for their livelihoods. Stanley Nyaringita, TV47.
That's Stanley Nyaringita. Thank you so much for that story. Meanwhile, Kenya Kwanza leaders allied to the United Democratic Alliance UDA have intensified campaigns in Western Kenya as they seek to bolster President William Ruto's re-election bid. The leaders, led by presidential aide Faruk Kibet, have criticized opposition leaders, accusing them of spreading ethnic divisions. Paul Kirobi reports.
Leaders allied to Kenya Kwanza, among them National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, President's aide Faruk Kibet, and other senior government officials, pitched camp in Western Kenya as they intensified campaigns for the re-election of President William Ruto for another term in 2027. Speaking during their tour in Luanda constituency, Faruk Kibet criticized opposition leaders, accusing them of promoting divisive politics that undermine national unity.
Wale wanatabiri ukabila na fujo, tuambie shetani afanye namna gani? Hawa kabila wamekuja hapa Teso. Mumewahi kuona Teso? Hata kujenga toilet wamejenga.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula called on leaders from the Western region serving in senior government positions to use their influence to champion development programs that directly benefit the people.
Nyinyi hapa Malaba mnajua, kwa miaka 10 Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, rais wetu mstaafu, na yeye ndiye peke yake rais wetu wa zamani bado yuko hai. Alikanyaka hapa Malaba mara ngapi? Alikanyaka hapa mara ngapi? Ruto amekuwa hapa mara ngapi kwa miaka 3? Amekuwa hapa kuzindua soko, tumekuwa na rally hapa town, tumekuja hapa Amagoro.
Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng says the broad-based government arrangement has helped accelerate development under President William Ruto's administration.
Mingi tuache kukopa pesa kutoka China, tukopa pesa yetu kama wa Kenya tujenge pamoja. That is why tunaamini kwamba those who are saying the country is going backwards are refusing to see the truth, are refusing to know that as a country we must make some difficult decisions. We must make some very difficult decisions for the country to move forward.
Hapa Busia kura yetu tulikuwa tunapigia Raila Amolo Odinga ya president. Lakini vile Raila Amolo Odinga alienda, alisema tubaki na William Samoei Ruto. Hapa kura yetu sasa yote ya president. Sisi wengine tutangangana hivi viti ingine, si ndio?
Speaker Wetangula also welcomed President Ruto's plan to extend the railway network to Western Kenya, saying the project will ease the movement of goods and passengers while boosting economic growth in the region. The leaders were speaking during a boda empowerment program at NYS Achie Chakara Technical Training Institute in Teso North constituency. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
And in Nairobi, women led by Faith Nguthu gathered today to thank President William Ruto for various projects and programs implemented by the government over the past 5 years. These include the Social Health Authority SHA program, the construction of Talanta Stadium, and the Affordable Housing Project. Speaking during the meeting, Faith Nguthu, who is seeking the Nairobi woman representative seat in 2027, said her main agenda is to ensure that issues that have not been fully addressed are prioritized, especially those affecting women and children. She also emphasized the need to create more employment opportunities for women across different communities to improve their economic well-being. At the same time, Nairobi gubernatorial aspirant Patrick Musili said he is committed to fighting corruption in Nairobi County by strengthening cooperation among leaders, public servants, and citizens to ensure public resources are used properly.
Hii event nimeleta hapa sababu tunataka ku appreciate our president of whatever he has been doing for the last 5 years. Tumeona projects zake penye anafanya, na sisi kama wamama tukasema tukuje tumuonyeshe upendo na tumu-appreciate kwa mambo mazuri anaendelea kufanya. Na nikiwa hapa kama mama ninamwambia asante na endelee kufanya hizo projects anaendelea kufanya. The big agenda for Nairobi kwanza ni zile vitu wale wengine wenzangu hawajafanya, ndio nataka nitengeneze zile vitu zingine wao hawajafanya, especially kwa wamama, kwa watoto na vinginevyo mingi tukianza.
Security officers have been urged to strengthen unity, teamwork, and mutual respect in the discharge of their duties to enhance service delivery to the public. During the annual Thanksgiving Mass, Bishop Wallace Nganga called on officers to work together as one team and show compassion to the communities they serve. Leaders who attended the event also emphasized the need to value their profession, instill gratitude in children, and continue serving the nation with integrity. The event brought together security personnel, religious leaders, and other stakeholders.
That collaboration, ushirikiano wetu katika vikosi zetu zote zenye nimetaja. We are told with one responsibility ya usalama pahali popote tupo, but we have to work as one team. Na kuungana kwetu katika ibada hii inaonyesha ushirikiano wetu kama vikosi tofauti.
We are supposed to be people of integrity. We are supposed to be people with a lot of self-control. People who are consistent in what we are doing. Who struggle to make sure that we improve on a daily basis. With a lot of patience. With a lot of love, integrity, and enthusiasm.
Now let's get sporty. Kenya's Harambee Starlets missed out on a place in the final of the Four Nations tournament after losing to host Zambia on penalties following a 1-1 draw in regular time at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola. Zambia took an early lead through Priska Chilufya in the 3rd minute before Fasila Odhiambo restored parity for Kenya in the 77th minute, with the match ending 1-1. The winner had to be decided through a penalty shootout where the Copper Queens emerged victorious 4-1. In the other semi-final, Zimbabwe defeated Lesotho 3-1 to book a place in the final. Kenya will now face Lesotho in the 3rd place playoff on Tuesday, while Zambia take on Zimbabwe in the final on the same day. Harambee Stars will look to improve on their 1-1 draw against Lesotho when the two sides meet again in a second international friendly at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in Pretoria, South Africa on Sunday. Head coach Benin McCarthy says the match will provide another opportunity to assess his squad as Kenya continues preparations for upcoming AFCON qualifiers and the 2027 AFCON tournament, which the country will co-host alongside Uganda and Tanzania.
-1, some good preparation. We worked on a couple of technical issues that let us down in the last game, especially getting into that final third. You know, we created a couple of chances, but we have to be a lot more clinical. So, yeah, that's the first issue. Of course, the other objective of the camp is to have a look at a lot of players who haven't been here before. So we're going to make some changes and give them a turn. And that's it. It is an international game. The mandate is that we need to win. And that is certainly the expectation from the technical team. We've had a long discussion with the coaches. And we've had a look at a couple of videos, of course, where we came short, how we can do better. And that's what we've worked on in that session.
Describe how it felt. Like, it was just surreal for me. You know, it's a big honour to be representing your country. Training's been good, to be fair. As you can see, the vibes are really good. I think especially when it's time to get serious, we get serious. And again, it's just putting on that badge, representing your country tomorrow is probably the most exciting thing for me.
All right, let's take a short break right now, and when we return, we've got the conversation waiting for us. We'll be trying to understand how can we navigate this beast of co-parenting. All right, let's take the break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.